give you quick answers because I know that as you get tired from the long time sitting here, but just try to answer the questions. First one asking for prayer, please pray that we cannot fall into temptation. So God help you. And it is truly what we need is to pray and ask for God's help. What is wrong about having a girlfriend and not having sex? It is wrong. We have to differentiate between the friendship in general. When we as young men, young youth, we need friendship, to have friends. And we encourage the friendship in groups. But when the friendship turns to be focused on a certain person, especially on the other sex, and if you are friends as a group, and then start focus on one, this is the beginning of temptation. Because you have emotion, you have emotional attachment, and then you put yourself in situation when you are tempted, and this relationship is ended by falling in sin. And as we heard, purity is not just the purity of the body, but also the purity of the mind and the purity of the spirit. And some people, they deceive themselves when they consider that is what is sin when they have actual relationship, actual sexual intercourse. This is the sin. No, there are many things before that. And be careful. And be careful because you may not intend it to commit sin, but because you put yourself in temptation, then it leads to sin. So keep your friendship in general and groups, and don't go for specific. What is a spiritual exercise I can do to keep my eyes pure? Pain provocative image flash before my eyes. That in the street, in the car, in the church, and so on. Don't focus on what you see. Because when you focus on what you see, that is become to, don't reflect on that. And try to get away from what, because all of us, we face some images which can affect us. So we have to be very careful. If the first look is not sin, then definitely the second one is sin. So be careful on that. And don't reflect on what you see. And also this figure, as one of the saints said, if you be tempted by the beauty of the bodies, remember what happened to this body after this. Yeah, if you are tempted by the beauty of a body, then remember that this body will turn to be dust. And in this way, when you disfigure what you are saying, this help you to not to be tempted by this. And when you fill your mind with good things, then even if this image is coming to you, you will find your mind full with good things. Ask for God's help when you see images which is provoked, which tempt you. Repeat short prayer like, Lord have mercy, Lord help me. And also avoid to put yourselves in places when you face these things. And if you are walking and without aim, or you are watching without focusing on what you are watching, it ends by you see things which end by to fall. How can we best resist the corruption, the media, and the entertainment industry? Be selective be selective. Be selective about the time you spend on that. And you have to budget your time. People spend a lot of time on media or internet on things which are not useful. Even it is not wrong, but not useful. And also, like when you go to a store and you don't know what you are going to buy, you ended by buying things which you don't need. The same also. If you watch, for instance, the TV, and you don't focus what kind of things you are going to watch, it ended by watching things you don't like to watch. The same also in the internet. So use the media in the right way. Try to benefit it from the right way, and don't watch TV while you are tired. Don't sit on the computer clicking from website to another when you are physically tired. Because it ended when you are tired, you always search for easy things to watch. And usually these things are the easy thing to watch. There's a question outside the topic. Is anybody except Orthodox will go to heaven? Of course, people who don't have the right faith, because the word Orthodox means the right faith. So to have the right faith, it is important to be accepted by God. How God is going to judge the people, we leave it to God. But God is telling us the right way, and we have to follow the right way. So the right way is clear about the faith, about the spiritual life, about the life of holiness. But we are not here to judge who go where, but we know what is the right thing. Like, just to give an analogy, if you drive and there is a sign to tell you what is the speed limit. So you have to follow the speed limit. You are not, but you don't have the authority whom to give ticket or not to give ticket. This is not your responsibility. But your responsibility is to tell the truth and to follow the truth. This is our responsibility. It is true that nobody is like God, but does not the name Michael. Does not the name Michael mean who is like God? Archangel Michael, yeah. Of course, God is a spirit. So we don't see God in a form. But when God appeared to us, he was incarnate, took human nature. All the appearance of God in the Old Testament, just people can, he can talk to the people, like angels. But the angel is limited. The difference is limited. But God, unlimited. The angel is limited, the space is limited, in power is limited in knowledge. Jehovah Witnesses بيقولوا إنه Christ is Archangel Michael, because they confused between the appearance of the Son of God in the Old Testament in the form of angel. The word angel has two meanings. Angel, the creature, God created angels. Angel means messenger. When the Son is called angel, it's not because he's a creature, but because he was sent by the Father. So the term angel, when it's called about the Son, the Logos, in the meaning he was sent by the Father. So Jehovah Witness confuse the two. And they refer to the appearance of God in the Old Testament as an angel. They مثلا when you speak about the angel who was with Moses and the people in Sinai. So here it's speaking about God, about the Son who protected them. Is there anything wrong with having a sleepover? There is a lot of problems out the sleepover. You can have a sleepover in the church. They can arrange for you. Some churches, they organize this. They bring which is a good idea. Like in homes, usually they go and big house, and they sit, and after dinner, the parents of the house go to sleep and leave the kids with each other. And many problems happen of that. But maybe the church organize from time to sleep over in the church when you have to pray the sbaha early morning, some activities. I think this is to be better. Can mentally ill people become ranked in the church, priests, monks? Of course not, because any rank has a responsibility. If one to be ordained priest, it's not just a blessing. حتى it's not only mentally retarded, if is physically handicapped. Suppose مثلا one who is blind cannot be ordained as a priest. Not anything against being blind, because any one of us has no we are not responsible for our health or for our sickness. This is a gift from God. But to do a job, to do a responsibility, like مثلا one who مثلا have a very, very weak side cannot be allowed to be a driver, because this is a risk on the people. But it doesn't mean he is a criminal or he cannot go in the kingdom of heaven. This is a different thing. So any rank in the church is not just a kind of honor. Maybe one who is honored, مثلا Saint Didymus the blind, who was a great scholar. He was the dean of the school of Alexandria, but he was not ordained a priest. Sometimes I witness leaders in the church fall into sin themselves, and as a result I become less faithful. What do I do in situations like this? All of us, we are struggling. We are struggling to live a life of holiness and purity. So what I want to say is yes, we are struggling in our life, and the church is holy, but we are in a spiritual fight. We try to be holy. So if any mistakes happen or weakness in the church leader, does not mean the church is not holy. We pray. If we hear about any weakness like this, you pray for the person. Even among the disciples of Christ, there were weakness. St. Peter, he denied him. And then it حصل quarrel between St. Paul and St. Barnabas. Even St. Paul, he accused St. Peter of being hypocrite. So it happened, and the Bible recorded this to us, to tell us they were humans. Abraham, when we say that when we die to be in the bosom of Abraham, he lied about Sarah, and so on. So the weakness, but it does not mean accept the weakness, because all these people repented. There is a difference between we accept the weakness, but they repented. But to fall, anybody could fall. That's why St. Paul warned us to be careful. And man kana qa'iman falyanzur la'alla yasqut. The one who is standing, who is strong, to be careful, he may fall. To a Protestant church is sin. Along going to our church, it is not a sin, but it is a confusion. It is a confusion. Suppose you go to a Protestant church, And they speak about repentance. And they tell you there is no confession. The idea of confession, Father, this is not accepted. And then you go to the Orthodox Church, like Abuna Masan today, telling us about confession, Father. So we get confused. When they tell you about the Eucharist, they say no, it's just a symbol. It is not a true body and blood. Then you go to the Orthodox Church, they told, so when you go to take communion, what do you believe in that? So it causes you to be confused between the two. So if you are Orthodox, then go to the Orthodox Church. If you are Protestant, convert and become Orthodox. What do you do when you feel abandoned by God? When you have this feeling, be sure this is a feeling coming from the devil. Because God never abandons us. He loves us. He cares for us. And when you get this feeling, pray. And don't accept this feeling. Even if we are sinners, but He came to save us. And the Lord gives the analogy of the physician. The physician, he came to the sick people, not for the healthy people. If you commit suicide, do you go to hell for sure? Sure. Why? Because life is a gift from God. And we don't have the right to terminate our life or to terminate the life of anybody. Because He only the giver of life, and He only has the right to terminate this life. So when you kill somebody, it is a crime. When you kill yourself, it is a crime too. How can one be able to discern the will of God in his or her life? To pray, طبعا that is a big topic. To pray, to consult your father of confession, your parents about the decision of other people. And God speaks in your heart to give you peace and joy about the decision. And of course, it should not be something against the commandment of God. If there is something clear against the commandment of God, you don't take it. Can a pope get excommunicated? Yes, the pope is responsible in front of the Holy Synod. So, if a patriarch deviate in faith, like Nestorius was a patriarch of Constantinople. Macedonius was a patriarch of Constantinople. So when they deviate in faith, they be excommunicated. By who to judge? Either the synods of that's why they call for ecumenical synods to deal with heresies, which some leaders of the church, as I mentioned, Macedonius and Nestorius, they were patriarchs of the church. Why it is wrong to text as long as you clean? ما حدش قال ان texting is wrong, but I want to speak about distraction. Don't you know the accident of the train in California when they discovered that is the engineer or the driver was texting and it was an accident. And they said that is texting while driving is more dangerous than speaking in the telephone. طبعا واحد texting وانت in the church texting So the right time of it. And then the content. What you text. What kind of messages. And texting in itself is not wrong. But like talking, to speak. What kind of talk you talk. ففي ناس بقى بتعمل texting حاجات وقالوا لكم السكستنج. If you have friends who are not Orthodox and they invite you to their church, but it is just a time for youth to socialize, not to learn their belief. Is it okay? And how to go to the church to socialize? Is the church is just a place to socialize? If you are going to trip together, it's okay, but I don't know what you go to church just to socialize. إلا بقى لو كان عندهم مثلا social time. يعني احنا مثلا when I was new age, I was in Aswan, and we don't have club sport يعني to go and play basketball, football. Like in the Catholic Church, they had one. So we go there. But we don't go to the church, just have the playground, because there was not just many playgrounds like this. Can my brothers in the church do anything to support me in my quest for purity? Yes, because we have to support one another. We have to support one another. We come to the church to feel support. What can I do with the natural sexual energy I have? What can I do with the natural sexual energy I have now when I am not ready for marriage? That's why God grant us mind. The difference between us and animals. The animals, they moved by their desires. But God granted us mind to control our actions. Like, مثلا, if you are walking and you're going, and then you won't have a desire to eat, you can't enter any house and just, I want to eat because I am hungry. So there is a control. If you want to go, you go, pay, get what to eat. There is a time for eating. There is a way of eating. Like in مثلا the animals, when they are hungry, they eat. They don't control themselves. Even by training now, they control dogs and bits and these things. So you have to have control, self-control. Have you heard about self-control? Self-control. And there's therefore activities like sport that help you to get out of this energy. When you are busy with your study, put your energy in not thinking of how to fulfill this energy you have, to divert it to other things, to promote your thoughts. So this is the way to it. So self-control, you can get it by the help of God, help of the Holy Spirit, by being away from temptation, by using the energy in other things like sport, like busy in your study, also to promote your thoughts about the other people. This is help you to deal with this energy. Why do we do the same things every Sunday? The Sunday is the day of the Lord. So you go to the church and you get the spiritual food to sustain you during the week. And when you go with the intention to benefit, you will benefit. But also in every Sunday, there is the liturgy, there is reading, there is sermon, there is a Sunday school, which improve your knowledge, improve your spiritual life. You meet other people to be strengthened by them. Surrounded by friends who are constantly talking about girls and parties in general. Would one really have to lose these friends and to be lonely and cannot just ignore such topics? Both. You have to be selective in your friends. You have to be selective in your friends. Like one, he said, tell me who are your friends, I tell you who are you. Right? We know you from your friends. Plus, it's not necessary you share with your friends in everything. And it is not necessary everything. And some friends start to have some topics which you don't like. If you feel there is no acceptance, they may stop talking on that. So you can control also what you talk about. Don't be followers, be a leader. Don't be follower, be a leader, even among your friends. How can you prevent your mind from receiving bad thoughts when talking with people? Again, as we said, the thought come, don't accept these thoughts. And the thought come when there are sources which bring this bad thought for you. How can one reach purity of the heart and of the mind? I think it should be a topic in itself to speak about achieving the purity. But control your senses, because the senses are the windows through which things enter to you. As you control your senses, this is you control inside. لما يكون مثلا في window dust, we close the window, so we avoid the dust to come in. The same also in our life. And strengthen the inside, like in health. If your immune system is strong, you can stand all the microbes, bacteria outside, the virus. If you are weak, you can easily get sick. So when you strengthen your spiritual life, it's not just you control your eyes and these things, but also you have to be strong from inside. And when you're satisfied with Christ, you're thoughtful with good thoughts, you read the Bible, you pray, Christ in you, this will help you to be strong against the temptation. The question is turned to be somebody speaking about a specific case about a man whose wife died and then he get married and then the other one left him, and he asked him the fault of whom. So the one who sent this can talk to me and we can and speak it in details, because we cannot answer and see who is the fault without knowing details. If he interested to get help about this case. I have a friend who is confused with her church. How can I help her to find the truth and being Orthodox, and how can she make that choice when her family might not accept? To taste it. Orthodoxy is not just something in the mind, to taste the church. So usually when the people come and experience a spiritual life, let us help her to. So let her to come to the church, to meet a priest, sit with her, to explain to her, and start some practice about this Orthodox spirituality. And maybe she find in the church the satisfaction and depths in the spiritual life. So thank you very much for your patience.